everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Making Mommy Move Show. I'm so happy and grateful that you're here with us for another episode. Today we're going to be talking about having hard conversations because I know that we all have to do this, whether it's with our spouses, with our kids, with our team members or staff members, potential business partners, anything. It's important to have these discussions and to really make sure that there's nothing up in the air, that everything's understood, and that these conversations are had in a professional way and a tactful way, not defensively. I know that we all try to not to do that, but sometimes our emotions can get the best of us, especially when talking to our kids or our husband or wife or whoever you're trying to talk to. So I know that we've all had to go through this, and sometimes the fight or flight instinct can kick in, whether that's you get defensive right away when somebody tries to approach you with a topic that, immediately inside you clench up and you just feel like you have to fight back, or you flight and you run away, and in that situation you're avoiding the conversation, and that's not going to be good for anybody. And then obviously the third one is that you freeze and you just don't say anything at all. And I know that I do that a lot. I go through my head and I have this conversation over and over again, and it's always like, oh my gosh, I should have said this, I should have said that, why didn't I ask that question? And you're either bringing up the conversation again, or you just got all these things running through your head. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about having these hard conversations. And I want to give you some of my favorite key tips to keep in mind when you're going into having a hard conversation, so that hopefully you don't have these kinds of regretful feelings of man, I should have said this and that, or the defensive reaction. So obviously the first thing is that it's better to have the conversation than to not have it at all, especially in life or business. I know that with my husband and I, we'll talk about this more on the show in the future, but we have hard conversations every day. Actually, just recently, we really came to the decision that we're going to be kind of flip-flopping and make our current businesses. So what I mean by that is Larry's going to have his turn at trying to make something happen with his businesses. He's going to leave his job full-time, and I'm going to be the breadwinner. So that means either freelancing with other florists to help make ends meet, trying our damnedest to make our businesses replace his income so that we can live off of it, so that he has the opportunity to really make something out of his business and his life and accomplish his goals. It's been amazing having the security of him at work, but now I know that it's my turn to flip-flop. Sometimes that happens. So back to the hard conversation of having that, we both went into it with an open mind. We weren't defensive. It's just we never yell at each other. We never call each other names. And I think that that's important in any conversation that you're having, to just treat them like a human being. And then keep it personal, keep it professional, try not to get too emotionally attached to it, even though I know that can be hard sometimes. And just have the conversation. Even if you don't have the right words today, even if you don't have the right words to say, something that I like to do is I pre-frame it with I really don't know how to say this, and I don't want it to come off the wrong way, but this is what I'm feeling, or this is what I'm thinking. Let me know how how it takes, basically. And it never ever comes off oh, you shouldn't have said that. It's always oh, okay, I see where you're coming from. And that's the kind of conversation that you should be having with either your spouse, your employees, your staff members. It's never I don't want you to take this the wrong way. This is just what I'm noticing about what's been going on at work. Is something going on? How can we make this better? Always come from it from a solution standpoint and not a problem standpoint. That you want to really come to a resolution. So you could use this even in your business if you have to potentially let somebody go if they're not a good mutual fit. You could say, I'm sorry, this is what I'm noticing, this is what my needs are, but it's really not working out. How can I help you transition or to get you to a place that you need to be? Something like that. Come from it from a resolution kind of standpoint. So something else to keep in mind when you're having these tough conversations is to never, ever insult them, never take it from an argumentative standpoint. I know I had touched on this before, but obviously don't insult them. Don't be too aggressive in your approach. Try to keep it really conversational and not stern and argumentative, and that's just gonna come at it from an I perspective instead of a you perspective. Something this is how I am feeling, this is what I'm experiencing, this is what I'm noticing, by saying you didn't do this, then it automatically causes that defense mechanism. So even in my marriage, if it's like, you didn't do the dishes, or you didn't take out the garbage, or you really dropped the ball here, it's like, I would really appreciate it if you could do this for me. Can you do me a favor and do this next time? And they're going to have a lot better reaction to that. So finally, the last piece of having difficult conversations, and this is probably the hardest piece, is you need to listen. Like, actually turn on the listening ears and listen to what they're saying. Don't immediately jump at the ball to have a response to what they're saying. I do that a lot. I cut Larry off all the time, and I notice it, and I've been making it an effort to fix that. So he'll be having a conversation with me, and he'll be trying to say something, and I immediately am trying to finish the sentence. And it's like, I don't know what he's saying. Sometimes I do, but most of the time he's going to say something completely different than what I was thinking. So I just need to shut my mouth and listen. That same thing can happen in life and business and talking to your other family members or your kids or your business partners, whoever you're working with, whoever you're trying to talk to and have a conversation with. Listen to what they're saying. Truly listen, ask appropriate questions, do some active listening where you're repeating back to them what they're saying, and ultimately you'll be able to come to a resolution or answer whatever question that you're having so that your business and your life can go better. So I don't know if this is relatable, but I know that sometimes people feel like they have to win a conversation, and ultimately when you go into a conversation that way, nobody ever wins. It either ends in an argument or regret or disappointment or some sort of negative emotion. And I think it's really important to go into the conversation with a resolution focus, that it's just a conversation, nobody has to win, it's not an argument. And when you go into it this way, then there's no more drama that ensues from it, because drama never solves anything. So I hope that this was a helpful topic for you guys. I like to keep these short so that you have time to fit in the inspiration, even when you're on the go, in the car, on your way to work, or trying to wrangle up the kids. You have 5 minutes to have to yourself so that you can swap a load of laundry or get some you time. You can use this anywhere. Use it in your conversations with your spouses, with your kids, with your work relationships, with your employees, with your business partners. When you're trying to leave a position at work or trying to get on board with your spouse and their ideas, it can be really helpful to have these difficult conversations. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for tuning into the show. As always, if you could tag me and share a screenshot of this episode with your favorite takeaway, how you're going to use it in your life today. I love it. I love to reshare it, and I'd love to potentially have you on the show and talk about it. All right. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye for now.